Good morning from a very sunny but very cold Belgium. From Brussels, as you can hear, I speak with a very heavy South African accent. So I will try and speak as clear as I can so that you can follow along. But today I want to show you how I made these beautiful hearts on my Valentine's cards. And they are made from alcohol ink. And the alcohol ink, you have to use a very special paper called Yupo paper. So these are what the cards look like when they are finished. But I will go through the process with you. So I'm just going to put this one side. So the Yupo paper that I'm using is, you get two different sizes. The one is a normal A4 size. And it is like a type of a plastic. It is actually a plastic paper, so that the ink does not get absorbed, but it gets it flows on it. And then there's another one called the Yupo Translucent. I've only got a small A5 size of it, and this one is translucent paper, and it really makes a difference. The only thing you can see over there, I've got a bit of a stain on the side. It doesn't really bother me because I can work it into my creation. But just a tip then, not to work on your pad, but to remove the page when you start working. So I've got my two pages here. So these are the hearts that I made, and working on one big page actually gives you a little bit more freedom, because it gives you a bit more of a complete picture at the end, and when you cut out, it's more spontaneous, the hearts that you get. And I've got them in different sizes, different colors. So I'm going to be showing you how I use my alcohol ink for this. I'm going to be placing the big Yupo paper. I haven't figured out whether there's a front or a back. It seems the same to me, so I'm going to be putting it over there. And then I'm going to be working with my small Yupo paper. If it drops, because there are stages where you just want it to flow and it falls on here, it's going to be fine for me. I've got some kitchen towel also if I need to work with that. But because the ink dries, and then it can be reactivated once you put your alcohol solution on it, it can be reused. So that is my plan with this. The fluid I'm using is the alcohol blending solution. It's got a little bit of ink on already, so it is not that, I hope you can see what it is, not that clean anymore. But this is the solution that I will be using. And then the inks that I'm using is Pinata inks from Jacques. I can't even say the name. You can have a look. So it's the Pinata inks, and all of this I ordered off Amazon. I have not been able to find any of this in any of my local craft shops. Okay, so to start off with, you have to decide what color scheme you are going to go for. So I am going to use blues, pinks and purple. So let me start with my purple first, my darkest color. So this is the Pinata. I'm trying to think of how to pronounce this name, because it's quite a famous name, and I know that the people absolutely love it. So you shake it first, because it's been standing for a bit, just to make sure that it is. This will stain your fingers, but it does come off in the bath, so I'm not too worried about that. And you only want one teeny tiny little drop, especially if it's a dark color. It goes very far. So instead of dropping it from a height, I'm going to bring my paper to and there is just one little drop. Okay, and I'm going to let it dry, You can see how beautifully it's spreading. This is not your end product, and what works best for me is if I leave it to dry that little bit. So I'm not going to be fussing with that for now. I'm going to go to my next color, which is my blue. Just want to take out the pink as well. And shake my blue. This is, it's such a, they call it, looks like Baja blue. But it's a very beautiful light blue. I think it's the one that I probably use the most. So I'm going to do the same, but I'm going to put it in a different corner. So just a drop. I might add a little bit more later. I'm going to let it flow a little bit just so that it dries a little bit sooner. The interesting thing is you will find that some colors flow differently from others. Some blend easily, some are more repelled by the alcohol. And then this is the next color I'm going to be using is a magenta. Okay, I hope you can see it nicely. Just shaking it so that the color pigments can mix. And the reason why it's such a beautiful pure color, it's because it's pure pigment. So it's not mixed with anything like watercolors have to be mixed with something to make it solid. So there you go. And I think I will put one drop there as well. And just letting it flow a little bit on one side to the next. Now my purple bit is dry already, so I'm going to be starting to add some of my solution. Now, so the secret about, sorry, there's just the hair stuck there. I've got a lovely King Charles Spaniel and unfortunately hairs gets into all my products, so I have to be careful for that. But when you work, you must have a very light hand with alcohol. When you work with alcohol ink, so let me keep this close, I don't have to reach too far. So now I've put the alcohol ink solution on there, and you can see how beautifully it's starting to flow. And now I'm just maneuvering it around. So I want soft colors, I don't want dark colors, or I don't want straight lines. If you hear a snoring in the background, that is also my lovely King Charles Spaniel that is snoring away. So you can see there's a nice, so I'm only focusing on this area for now. I'm not focusing on more than this area, because you cannot manipulate it more than one thing at a time. So now I'm going to add the solution right next to my purple, the area where it's touching the blue. So I'm letting it run into the blue, and then I'm letting it run into the purple. Let's see what that does. Can you see how it repels almost a little bit? And so you can let it run back, and this way, and that way. If you use a hair dryer, I will show you. Must just remember that this paper can kind of like become airborne. So just steady it with your hand. I will show you when you use the hair dryer, it makes like little ripples. And you must set it on cold, not hold it too close to the solution. I'm just going to add a little bit more of the solution because it's dried in the time I was talking, and then it won't give you that effect that I'm talking about. And I want it to flow back into the where the purple is, so that it can work with it. So when I use the hair dryer, you will see how I'm going to be blowing it from one side and then another side, and then you get quite a different effect. Because this is a plastic, don't hold it too close, it can burn the plastic and the ink. So I'm putting it on my lowest setting. So that is basically what you have. And in the process, I had all my other hearts and cards flying around. So just keep that in mind, that whatever you have around, obviously the wind will, from the hairdryer, will make it fly around. So, okay, so now I've got the blue and I've got the purple, and I'm going to introduce this beautiful magenta color. Let's see if we make it run into that. I think one thing that I've learned is not to have too many colors of different, too many different colors. Let me put it that way. So it must be colors that will work well when it blends together. Otherwise you just get like an ugly brownish color. Okay. So now you can see it just flowed. I'm going to add the solution in between that, and let's see what happens there. And honestly, I'm always surprised at what happens. So let's see if I use my hairdryer. Let me just move this paper because it's also flying up, and I don't want it to influence what you can see. You can see it's going this way. Okay, and that is dry, and you can see a different effect if you look closely than just the flowing. So you can see the ripple effect of the hairdryer. Okay, and now if I introduce some more of the liquid on this side, so I want it to flow together on this side. So I'm not adding too much more ink. I might later on, but I'm working with what I have because I want a soft effect. What I want to show you now is, you can see it makes a different purple. So this purple will look different from the one where it's the pure purple. So I'm just going to use the blow dryer. And there you've got your lovely effect there. And I really like this a lot. If I want to create like a wispy effect or a flowing effect, I will add some more of my solution there and allow it, kind of swirl it around so that I allow it to dissolve again in the solution, which is, I think it's just alcohol and ink. I don't know what the ratio is. I mean alcohol and glycerine. That's what I mean to say. So I want to show you, actually I'm going to add a drop of blue to this because I want to show you. I don't think there's enough on there to create that wispy effect. And some of it might drop, and I'm going to be mindful that I'm dropping it on my other Yupo paper. And I like to work from the center, so I'm going to aim for it to drop on the, around about the center. So it will only flow where you put your solution. So I'm putting quite a lot, and I want it to flow right off the page. This time I'm going to just be blowing it gently. Here you go. And if you want to make it flow back, you can do that and just blow on it gently. There you go. Going to do it this way again. So it's really a back and forth. It's like a dance that you do, and I can see there's a like a line forming that might be a little bit of a hard line that I don't want there, and then I'm just going to blow gently onto that just to make it flow into the rest. And this line that formed over there, I actually like it. I'm going to show you when I use my gold to bring it in. I will show you how to then work with your hard lines. Okay, so I'm going to add some more alcohol ink on this side, and then I'm just going to let it run into the picture and let it just drip off. And again on the page, and you can see you can use your, if you don't want to be doing this, you can use your paper toweling and it will just absorb it like instantly. But I like that. I'm just going to blow on it just to soften it a little bit. Just a reminder, you are working with about 95% alcohol, isopropanol alcohol, and it can give you a headache, so make sure that there's some ventilation. So I'm happy with what's happening there for now, so I'm going to be focusing from the purple side towards this drop here. So I'm going to just drop my solution, let it flow into the ink. You can say your reservoir, and then let it flow out again. So just by tilting it around, I'm going to let it flow into the pink. There you go, and you control it all the time, but as you can see, you can really only control one area at a time. So it's flown there into the pink. So now I must think of the pink and the purple. I'm just going to let that flow right off the page. And just touch it like that, and it will come right off the page. I like that. I'm going to tilt it so that it flows back a bit, but I do like that. I'm actually going to use the hairdryer. So there you go. I like that smoothness and the way it runs off the page. And remember, we're going to be cutting out hearts, so it's not a complete picture. It will be segments of it. Okay. Now I'm going to be moving to my other pink. We'll swirl around the. If you can hear my little finches singing there in the background, they are in the kitchen. And it's just lovely to hear them celebrating the sun coming out as well. It's like they are just happy as well. Just going to add a little bit more of that. And I'm letting it run into the purple. Purple itself is quite a strong color, so the whole purpose of it is really to mix it with the others so that you get a different color with it. So I'm going to let that run back into my pink area, let it run back there again. I might just use my hairdryer and see what happens. There you go. And now I'm trying to think what other color I can use. Purple and yellow are complementary colors. This blue and this pink and purple are they are harmonizing, so that all goes together. But if I want to add, if you look at my hearts, I do have quite a bit of yellow in them, and so it does bring a bit of drama into it, a bit of contrast. So I will not put my yellow straight there, because the yellow, if it runs into the purple, it will make a brown. So instead of that, I'm shaking it now, and I will rather put it there. Because if I put it in this area, if it runs into the pink, it will make like a beautiful orangey color. If it runs into the blue, it will make a green. So I'm just going to put it again, not to drop from a distance, but just to touch your paper and just swirl it around a bit so that it can dry quickly. And then I might put some over here. And we'll see where that goes later on. It's okay to leave some white spots on anything that you create. It's fine to have a place where there's lots of things happen, where there's busy area and then there's calm area. This is, for instance, it's a nice calm area. But I am keeping in mind that I want to cut out hot, so I'm not looking at the complete picture. I just want to create some beautiful colors. Okay, so I am going to be working on this area now. I'm going to leave that one to dry. I'm going to put some of my solution there. I'm going to let it run into the pink and into the yellow. And let's see what happens there. I'm going to let it run right off the page, and I'm now mindful of where am I letting this drip, because this is going to become another creation that I'm going to be making. And you see there where there's a bit of green, a bit of blue, that was, I like that. It really creates a nice flowy, just blowing on it a little bit to create more movement so that it's not sharp lines, and letting it drip there. I like that a lot. All right, now I can work with this side. So I'm going to put the solution in here, quite a bit, because I want it to run quite a bit, and I'm just going to be moving it from side to side, allowing the ink to dissolve in the solution. And you can see there where it goes into the green, into the blue, it creates a green. And here where it runs into the pink, it makes an orange. So I like that. I'm going to use my hairdryer and just blow on it. you can see where it ran into the purple. It made like a brownish color, but I'm not worried about that. That will be where I put my gold, so that will cover that area. I love the brightness of this, so I don't want to really interfere too much with that. So I'm going to put my alcohol solution over here and just see if I just take a little bit from that. I don't want to take away all the lovely bright colors that it has created over there. And I let it run. Okay, let's let it just flow. You can see I just let it flow. Again, I'm using my other Yupo paper, so I'm mindful of where I'm letting it drip. I'm just blowing gently. And if it makes a ridge, if you want to create one creation, you can always just cut off if you don't like the ridge it makes. Okay, and I'm thinking now what I'm going to do here. You know what? I think I don't want to put my paper down on my wet ink, because it will influence my picture if there's wet ink on the back of that. So I am going to put some alcohol ink there. Not the ink. I keep on saying the ink, I mean the solution. And I'm just going to let it flow. Careful not to let it flow into my purple, because the purple is a bit of a strong color and it will change it too much. Okay, so let's see if I use the hairdryer, what's going to happen. This time I'm going to put a paper towel underneath it, because I don't want it to run underneath this one that I'm working. There you go. I like it. And I'm constantly thinking of my end products. I'm thinking if I'm cutting out a little heart there, even these little lines will really look pretty. So we're almost done. We still have a big area over here, which I am going to put a bit of blue on. And let's see when it mixes in with a purple. And I'm actually also going to put a drop of blue on this side and just allow it to dry. Run a little bit there, just so that it can dry a little bit. Otherwise it seems like the solution repels it and it like just pushes it into a corner. But once it's dry and you pour your solution over it, then it blends in nicer. So now I'm going to be quite careful, because I don't want it to run over what I've already created. So I'm manipulating it into this direction. I want it to flow towards that direction there. I don't mind it if it mixes with the purple, but I like what the purple created, the kind of calmness there. So, and you can see it really just flows where the solution has been poured. Dry a little bit with the hairdryer and see what happens. There you go. I don't like that too much, because it makes me think of I don't know, like a horror movie, kind of a blood dripping down sort of a thing. So I want to soften that. I don't like that effect it gave me there. So there you go. Just letting the ink flow there, and I'm going to let it drip. This is purple and blue and pink, so I don't mind putting it here right next to my blue on my Yupo paper. And look at that, it actually gives you a very nice, I'm just a very nice effect there. Okay, now let's go to this area, and you will see once it's dry it does change the color a little bit. So before you add too much ink, just wait, just give it a second to dry. I'm going to be working from this angle, so let's see what happens here. Now I'm very careful here because I really, the blue is a strong color as well, and I like the effects I've created, so I'm really careful that I don't take that away, and I don't kind of take all my yellow away. So I'm just going to let it flow a little bit this way and that way, back and forth. And let me put some of the hairdryer on it. There you go. It does create a different effect. Can you see? Compared to here where it was just flowing. And now we are almost finished. This area looks a bit boring. Shall we put it? Let's put a drop of purple there. Shake my purple. Let's see. But now it's really a case of being extra careful. Just a teeny tiny drop because it is so strong. I normally put my strongest color in the middle, and then it can dilute as it wants to. I'm actually going to let it flow off the paper onto my Yupo paper because even this was way too much for, it's going to overpower. So I'm just allowing it to flow off the paper. It should be dry. I'm just going to dry it with a hair dryer. And now I am going to, so if I want it to drip off, I'm going to let it fall on this area. So I'm going to fill my whole, because it's such a strong, the purple is so beautiful, but when it's so strong and so undiluted, you really even can't see it. So I'm going to let most of it drop off. Sorry, I must keep in mind that you must see what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna let it flow off like that, and I love it. I love what it created there. I'm going to dry it with my hair dryer a little bit. And there you go. You can see we've got a beautiful piece of artwork with different colors. And to this you could add whatever you like. For instance, if I want to add more blue to this area that's quite calm, I can add, but this is basically how you do it. Something else I must show you, if you just take your solution, which happened over there, and you just drop a few drops over your page, and I want to just take my wet paint away because I don't want it on the back of the, it also creates, you can see I'm going to leave it just like that to create special effects. So it almost looks like little watermarks, raindrops. And the amazing thing is it will speak to people. Everybody will see something different in that. Just going to dry it with my air dryer. There you go. Can you see how beautiful? Now if I want to add my gold to it, the gold is also very, let me just lift this up. I don't know if it zooms in nicely. You can see how beautiful that looks. You can also see my fingers are full of ink, but that's fine. It's okay. The gold you really have to shake well because the pigment goes to sit at the bottom. I'm just shaking my gold very, very well. And I'm thinking about my design. The way that I use my gold is I kind of let it run along the lines that's already there. So I'm going to show you. I did shake it very well. I'm going to drip it here in the middle. And make sure the rest of your ink is dry already, because when you start swirling it around, then your other ink is also going to be flowing. The gold ink is a bit different. There's like a sediment that settles on top, and so I'm going to just put one drop of, oopsie, you see what happens. You want to put one drop and then a lot falls, but nothing is lost. So now I can maneuver this gold to run where I want it to, and flow where I want it to flow into. And what it will do, if I just let it flow around in this circle, it will settle on the edges, which actually gives you a very, very beautiful effect. And now I'm going to let it run down this side along that line that I can see over there. Again, I've got my Yupo paper here, so I don't want to waste my my inks. And then I'm going to let it drip down onto the Yupo. You can see the gold it's like thicker, so I have to like tap it to let it flow. And I love that. You can now kind of tilt it in the opposite direction and let it flow back, but it will give you that beautiful, I don't know, it makes me think of these old maps, the old world maps. I don't know why. Okay, so now I want some of the gold to flow along this side, and so I'll just put some of my alcohol solution there. And I kind of go and I let it flow back into the gold, and then I let it flow out again. But I don't want to spoil my creation that I've already created, so I'm very careful with it. So if there's an area that I think, it's okay, that needs a bit of attention there, then I let it flow into that. Can you see how beautiful? So because this is just a demonstration, I will end it here, and I will show you the end product, and so that you can get an idea. But this is the technique that I'm using, so I will show you the end product, and then I will show you what I did with this, with my messy Yupo paper. I'm going to just dry it with my hair dryer. And you can see even where the gold was flowing, it created a different texture and a different effect. So there you go. This is my alcohol ink creation. Now, all that I do is to create these, the hearts is on the back of it. I will then take a template, a little cardboard cutout, and I will, not on my colored piece, but on the back of it. And I'm a little bit careful to turn it around now because I'm not sure if it's completely dry. It seems like it. So I will then place my hearts so that in the best possible position, not to waste. And then I will cut out the hearts. Now I want to show you on the cards how beautiful the different colors work. So on my example is blue and purple, and you've got the blue and the purple in there, and this is just a bit of detail, but it also works perfectly on the orange. It looks very nice. And then if you would put it on another color, say green, put a bit of detail. This is paper that I've cut out with my die cut machine. I've got a mini die cut machine that I bought at a craft store. You can see this is simple, but it says a lot, and you can put your message there. You are loved. Like I said, my whole aim for creating these cards is not to create Valentine's cards like you are my Valentine, I'm in love with you, but really to reach out to people, to show them it's easy to make, and so that you can give to your neighbor, people that you know are lonely and that needs to know that they are loved. Let's look at it on the purple. And so if I put my detail here, look how stunning that looks, because the yellow is complementary. Or you can put one that's maybe a little bit more blended, but it's got the more gold detail in it. That also looks stunning. And if you put it on the blue, look at that. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? And put the darker blue on there. And so you can play around a little bit. You can put this, I think this one will go nicer with a light blue color. It's really an adventure, and it is something that you can do when it's dark and gloomy days like we have over here in Belgium. I want to show you this one. Look how pretty this looks, because you've got the green-blue colors in there. And I always kind of overlap it with the lacy bit, just to break that lines, because we are allowed to be adventurous sometimes. There you go. So that is my demonstration today for you. I just want to bring my complete, well, it's not really complete, but I will show you later what it will look like. This is the finished one for this demonstration, and then I will show you what the bigger one looks like when I'm finished. Thank you very much.